Even though this year's events have been marred, the never-given spirit never lets us dream. With sheer privilege of commemorating the school name and legacy, standing potent for the 173rd year, as the head boy of the school, I feel honored to welcome the Board of Governors, all Sanawarians, parents, guests, teachers and students to the 173rd Virtual Founders Day celebrations 2020. Now I would like to request our worthy headmaster, Mr. Himmat Singh Dillon, for Thanksgiving prayers.
Let us pray. For Founders Day, accept and bless, O God, this school and use it in all things according to thy will. May thy presence be ever within its walls. May it stand always for all that is true, noble, lovely, and of good report. Grant that we and others may so gain from its life that many may bless thee for the day when it was founded, and that its work may be extended and continued for the generations yet to come. Now we shall pray for the Board of Governors. O Almighty God, bless with thy wisdom and thy love the governors of this school. Be with them and guide them in their deliberations, and grant that they may direct all according to thy will and use their talents for the welfare of the school now and always. Let us pray for Henry Lawrence. Henry Lawrence's prayer. O Lord, give me grace and strength to do thy will, to begin the day and end it with prayer and searching of my own heart, with reading of thy word. Make me to understand it, to understand thee. Make me humble, reasonable, and contented, thankful, just, and considerate. Restrain my tongue and my thoughts. May I not fear man and man's opinions, but remember that thou knowest my motives and my thoughts, that thou wilt be my judge. It is not in me to be regular. Let me be so, as much as I can. Let me do today's work, not postponing. Keep me living in humility, thankfulness, and contentment. Amen.
On this Founders, infused with the spirit of never giving, the school is proud to share a few memorable clippings from the past. Due to the current global pandemic that the whole world has been facing, we, the batch of 2021, are contributing by taking you through these clippings from the past. So here we are to witness the last couple of years trooping of the school flag. Let us always cherish and uphold our prestigious school's pride, which will forever be our alma mater.
Hands up! Disappointment! 120 कैडेट परेड पर परेड आपके निरंतर के लिए हाजिर है श्रीमान। Hands up! निशान सिग्नल बाजो चल Hands up! Hands up! मुझे सब परेड समाप्त है, परेड को ले जाने की अनुमति देता हूँ श्रीमान। परेड बकवास, परेड तीनों तीन में जाए चलेगा। डायनामाइट start the job, start
Good morning. OS Achievers Award 2020. Mr. Taranjeet Singh Sandhu joined the Indian Foreign Service in 1988. He was responsible for opening the Indian Embassy in Ukraine and also worked there as head of the political and administration wings. He was the first secretary in Washington. Sir also worked as Consul General in Frankfurt, Deputy Chief of Mission at the Embassy of India in Washington, D.C., and Consul General of India in Frankfurt. He has also served in different capacities at the Ministry of External Affairs, India. Mr. Taranjeet Singh Sandhu is presently the Indian Ambassador to the United States. Prior to this, Ambassador Sandhu was High Commissioner of India to Sri Lanka from January 2017 to January 2020. He has also served at the High Commission of India, Colombo, as the head of the political wing from December 2000 to September 2004. Mr. Taranjeet Singh Sandhu visited his alma mater as the chief guest at the Founders' Day celebration of the Lawrence School, Sanawar on 4th October 2018 as India's serving High Commissioner to Sri Lanka. We are proud to announce that His Excellency Mr. Taranjeet Singh Sandhu, an alumnus of the school, batch of 1979 Nilgiri House, currently India's ambassador to the USA, is the OS Achiever of the Year 2020.
Headmaster Himad Dhillon, the teachers, old Sanarians and dear students. We are meeting in these unprecedented times in the midst of COVID-19, and I would like to compliment the school leadership led by Himad and the students for prevailing on with the session and activities despite the continuing health emergency challenges. This is the spirit of Sanawar, never give in. The school spirit I have carried with me all my life while serving in different capitals over the years. It is the school which transformed me from a relaxed and raw kid to a focused and target-driven person. And I can say this with a clear conviction. Today, Sanarians
are spread all over the world, making their own unique contributions in various fields, from medical professionals to scientists, researchers, corporates to artists, including in Hollywood and Bollywood. Through technology and social media, we are able to connect and meet each other despite the current challenges. The bond that we share continues to remain very special. I feel humbled as I receive the Old Scenarian Achievers Award for the year 2020. I accept it with all humility on behalf of my batch. I dedicate it to all my teachers, proud to be a Scenarian always. Dear students, many of you might be curious what we have been doing as diplomat in these difficult times. Well, for example, we have been active and in the forefront to facilitate return of tens of thousands of Indians between India and United States through the Vande Bharat mission. In fact, nearly 70,000 persons have been brought back to India in 350 flights. An equal number have come back to the United States too. To connect with approximately 200,000 Indian students in the United States, we created a virtual student hub through which we continuously try to resolve their local difficulties in these challenging times. We have continued to remain open and function throughout the crisis. I have personally spoken to senior administration officials and policymakers, US senators and congressmen, healthcare experts and industry leaders. In the last few months, India-US cooperation has significantly deepened, particularly in the areas of healthcare, IT, energy and education, to name a few. For example, let me tell you proudly that any vaccine developed for COVID-19 will partner produced in India for mass distribution to nearly 125 countries in the world. Friends, there is no sphere of human endeavor where India and United States are not collaborating, and this partnership is benefiting not just the people of India and the United States, but the world at large. Boys and girls, at the Founders' Day address in 2017, when I had the opportunity to meet many of you, I had underlined, follow your passion. This morning, I will repeat it again. It does not matter what your passion is. It could be music, art, sports, science or literature. You must follow your heart. Give it all you can, and I am sure you will excel and make Sanawar and India proud. God bless you all. Stay safe, stay healthy, and thank you.
Sir, it is an honor and we welcome you.
The NIPMAN Teacher of the Year. The NIPMAN Teacher of the Year award is presented to a staff member in the testimony and recognition of outstanding effort in instilling self-confidence and discipline in his or her students. This prestigious award for the academic year 2019-20 goes to Mr. Manoj Kumar Gulia for his excellent results in physical education. This award carries a cash award of Rs 25,000. The 59ers Teachers Excellence Award. The Teachers Excellence Award is given to a member of teaching staff on behalf of the alumni of the class of 1959 in recognition of outstanding achievement in instructing and motivating students to achieve highest potential in the CBSE Class 12 board examination. The prestigious 59ers Teachers Excellence Award for the academic year 2019-20 goes to Dr. Vinod Kumar for his outstanding results in entrepreneurship. This award carries a cash award of Rs 60,000.
Over the years, Sanawar has progressed in every field possible. Despite the COVID outbreak this year, Sanarians have lived up to the never given spirit and showcased their talents. Without further ado, I would like to request our worthy headmaster, Mr. Himmat Singh Dhillon, to address us all.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to our 173rd Founders Day. On behalf of the Lawrence School Sanawar Society, the Board of Governors, staff and students, I extend a warm welcome to all our distinguished community, parents and old Sanarians, especially the batches of 1955, 1960, 1970 and 1995, who are celebrating their sapphire, diamond, golden and silver jubilees respectively this year. Please join me in welcoming our esteemed chief guest, Mr. Shomi Ranjan Das. Mr. Das has done his MA from Cambridge University, BA from Emmanuel College, Cambridge, graduation from St. Xavier's, Calcutta, and his schooling from the Doon School, Dehradun. Mr. Shomi Das was conferred the Lifetime Achievement Award by the IPSC, Education World, and Principals Progressive School Conference. He started his career in 1958 as assistant master in Gordonston School, Scotland. He rose and became assistant housemaster, and after that he became a tutor to His Royal Highness Prince Charles, and later on he became head of the physics department of Gordonston School, Scotland. He has served as the head of 3 of the top boarding schools of this country: the Lawrence School Sanawar, the Doon School and Mayo College, Ajmer. Post-retirement, Mr. Das is working actively as a consultant with many distinguished institutions and renowned schools. I shall now present the school report for the year 2019-20. Ladies and gentlemen, in this year's Class 12 CBSE results, the batch average was 89.52%, up 1.08% from last year. Well done, students. Two students scored a perfect 100 in psychology. Well done, Nitya Khanna and Megan Bhagirath. 3 students scored a perfect 100 in physical education. Well done, Divyaj Dipta, Aryan Singh and Yuvraj Singh Nughal. In a batch of 73 students, 43 students scored 90% and above, and 25 scored between 80 to 89%. This is an excellent result. Well done, Class 12, batch of 2020. Moving on to the Class 10 CBSE board results for the year 2020. The batch average was 85.15%. Five students scored a perfect 100 in mathematics in Class 10. Well done, Nupur Sharma, Simar Singh Gabadia, Harshangat Singh, Priyanshu Sharma, and Samarth Kharbanda. For the first time in the history of Sanawar, a student has scored a perfect 100 in English in Class 10. Well done, Janasheen Kaur Bala. Well done, Nupur Sharma, for topping the grade 10 batch. Well done, Simar Singh Gabadia, for coming second in grade 10, and with 96.60%, Harshangat Singh comes third in the grade 10 batch of 2020. Well done. The FVLP was an innovative step taken by the education team at the Lawrence School Sana in the face of the unprecedented global pandemic. Our education team took on the challenge and proceeded to deploy the facilitated virtual learning program for the students virtually using cutting-edge digital technology to make sure that education reached every student. The feedback from the parents, 94% of our parents expressed a positive response to the FVLP. Today, we salute our teachers for going above and beyond for the benefit of the students in our care. Well done, teachers. Under the wise guidance of our chairperson, Mrs. Anita Karwal, the school integrated the alternative academic calendar published by the NCERT for the purposes of teaching and learning into the FVLP. The team at the Lawrence School Sanam also paid extra emphasis to student-led initiatives and activities. For example, webinars on emotional well-being, hobbies, games, and all-round activities. Webinars on colleges and universities were conducted. The students were encouraged to get in touch with the creative side so that they could explore art, craft, culture, music, and dance. Our students interacted virtually with His Excellency Mr. Navtej Sarna and had an interactive session on the contribution that Indians made in World War I. In the same way, we had Dr. Niti Pal interact with our students so that our students could understand how their interest in medicine and commerce could merge and they could follow a different career path when they grow up. The present Sanarians were enthralled by tales of adventure brought to us by the old Sanarian society, who spoke about Everest, sailing the high seas, doing well in the world of films and creativity, as also being one of the trailblazers in the world of commerce. We had old Snarians who spoke to the children about the world outside and made them aware of what they could do as soon as they were out of school. I thank the Old Snarian Society and our eminent Old Snarians for gracing us virtually with their presence and inspiring the present Sanarians. In all this, physical fitness, health, and well-being were encouraged. Our students took part in a virtual International Yoga Day festival and celebrated health through the Fit India movement. A cyber security workshop was conducted by the well-known Mr. Rakshit Tandon for our students. We aim to keep our students safe, not only in the real world, but also in the virtual world. Our teachers are the wind beneath our wings, and the school ensured that they were looked after during the pandemic. 50 of our staff members are part of the Sanawar Cycling Club. 40 of our staff members are enthusiastic participants in the badminton club activities. Our science teachers attended the Education Empowerment Program webinar in June 2020. The happiness of the teachers and their well-being is a priority at the Lawrence School Sanawar. We thank Varun Sharma, OS, for spending time virtually and encouraging them to be happy and contented. Imagine and Inspire series of webinars was a grand success. This was a platform in which Old Sanarians virtually inspire the present Sanarians to make the best of their opportunities. The staff at the Lawrence School, Sanawar, contributed a sum of rupees 4,50,122 to the PM Cares Fund. Well done, dear colleagues. We are proud of you. The team at the Lawrence School, Sanawar, powered by the generous contribution of old Sanarians, was quick to respond to the pandemic by serving the community around the school. Tour de Sanar, organized by the Old Sanarian Society, was held on the 3rd November 2019. There was great excitement on the hilltop with mountain biking in full swing. Well done, Pratham Vijay Pratap Kalta, Mansavi Goel, Ira Khurana, and Ananya Panchar. We encourage our students to be all-rounders, and the International Day for Biological Diversity was celebrated on the 22nd of May 2020. There was excellent creative and artistic renderings by the students of the school. Caring for the community is an integral part of an education at Sanawar. Service to the community is what defines us as Sanarians. Yet another milestone in our journey towards being a green campus. We thank the Golden Jubilee Batch of 1970 for spreading sunshine on the hilltop. A fire lane cum patrolling path was constructed on the campus. This summer, there were no forest fires. Indeed, this will contribute not only to the security but also to the safety of all on campus in the coming years. We are very proud of the achievements of old Sonarians in a myriad spheres of life. This year, we are honoring His Excellency Mr. Taranjeet Singh Sandhu, NBD 79, Ambassador of India to the United States of America with the OS Achievers Award. Finally, I wish to thank all the members of the Board of Governors, the Lawrence School Sanar Society, the Old Sanarian Society, all old Sanarians, all parents, well-wishers, and friends of the school for their trust, guidance, and the unflinching support that has helped us to take another step forward towards taking our school to greater heights, to be the best school of all. With this, ladies and gentlemen, I conclude my address. May I now request our most worthy chief guest, Mr. Shomi Das, to address us all.
Chairperson of the Board of Governors, Srimati Anita Karwal, members of the Board of Governors, Headmaster Mr. Himad Dhillon, President of the Old Sanawar Society, General Kupreet Singh, Head Girl Pavit Sidhu, and Head Boy Aryaman Singh. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, staff and students. It is indeed a singular honor for me to be invited to be the chief guest at the Sanawar Founders. I think it's the 173rd Founders, to be chief guest of my old school. I cannot imagine anything honoring me more than to be invited to this function and to be able to speak. I must also say at this moment how proud I feel that the headmaster was a student of mine. And so I'm, in a sense, being honored by an old student, and in return, I'm honoring him. Following in my footsteps is for me a very, very proud moment for having Himmat as the headmaster. Congratulations, Himmat, and hopefully you will take the school to greater and greater heights. This beautiful hilltop, some of you may see my photograph that I keep behind me of my school, was home to me and my family for 14 long years. And so today, I'm really filled with nostalgia. I'm reminded of all the very lovely moments I spent at the school, the daily excitement, the challenges, the successes, the extraordinary spirit of every Sanawarian in the school, laughing under adverse circumstances with such high spirits. I rarely met children so spirited as a Sanawarian. But today, you know, I'm not going to indulge in nostalgia because that would take far too long and would, in a sense, look back rather than look forward. So it is my pleasure today to talk to the staff and students, but especially the students, for the future. The headmaster's address showed how very successful the school has been. I just remembered that he must be the third Old Sanawarian headmaster And that's a very good thing for an old centenarian to come back to his alma mater to head. I would like to say that this is an important step that the Board of Governors took. And I have no doubt that the school will continue to do well, but it will need to readjust along with the rest of the world. I'm speaking to a screen, and all that excitement I felt when I saw the parade, the school band, the trooping of the colors, all face to face, is not there. And indeed, the whole world is suffering from the same virtual feeling which encompasses us all. Where this virtual thing will take us, I don't know. But let me congratulate all the students, staff, and Bolsonarians for their dedication and success in the school. When I was a child, I'm sorry, I think I mixed up my pages. Anyway, when I was a child, as I was saying, I was taught tables, and the tables went up to 16. And so we had to learn that 16 16s were 256, and 16 12s are 192, and so on. And we had to learn this for a very interesting reason. The reason was that there were 16 annas to a rupee, something that most of you will not have known or ever seen. But the strange thing is that we are taught tables even today, and it's no longer necessary. Some people say that for improving the mathematical muscles of the brain, it's probably a good thing to do tables. But it is unnecessary. Alas, we go on teaching tables, and along with it, many other things which are obsolete. I was looking at the syllabus in physics, which is my subject, and we are teaching old-fashioned things and, of course, modern things. But what we have done is added more and more to the syllabus and made it larger and larger and make it more modern. Fortunately, the new education policy, which actually is a follow-up from the 1966 education report by the Kothari Commission, which was a brilliant report, also expresses the liberalization and the modernization of what we are going to teach. And this is something that I hope the Education Ministry will actually follow up on if they can, because it is a very far-reaching report. On the other hand, my experience with education reports has been very negative, and very little of all the reports that have been put in front of us has ever been properly implemented. Take the 10+2. It was meant to bifurcate students into those who followed academic courses and those who followed more, that's courses of skill in hand and eye. But none of that actually ever took place. So, if the academic council can implement the new education policy, it would be a great feather in their cap. This policy tends to remove the straitjacket into which the boards have put us in having streams. There's the science stream and there's the commerce stream, and sometimes, very often not, there's the arts stream. And the arts stream are for those who are not so-called brilliant. Such a pity. In fact, what the new education policy talks about is broad-basing so that we can do things in different topics and liberalize our education up to the school level. I'm delighted to see that, and I did try this when I was at Sanawar, but because of the constraints of the board, I was unable to do so. Even today, I see that we are talking about the arts stream and the commerce stream and the science stream. But preparing students for the future, and look at the future. Just see what a tiny particle called a virus, which you cannot see with the naked eye, nor with ordinary microscopes. It requires very sophisticated instruments. It's so small. Has brought the entire world to a standstill. And that's an eye-opener. And I hope we also look at it like that. Not all the technology that we know, not all the science that we know, not all the skills that we have has been able to overcome the problems that this world faces due to this tiny, tiny particle. So there's a paradigm shift taking place in the world as we readjust to working, for instance, virtually like this. And what is happening? What are we teaching our children? The same old obsolete stuff. Not all of it, but quite a lot of obsolete stuff. I've always said that after 14 years of schooling, school education, what does the school do? And here I'm talking generally, not specifically of Sanawar. The school gives a certificate given by the board, and everyone applauds. And even today we are applauding, and rightly so. It's a very difficult exam. So I do congratulate all the students who've done so well. But the point I'm trying to make is that the school has become more a certifying agency than a school for education. We spend more time spending in the classroom 5 to 6 hours a day in order that the children at the end of the 14 years gets a certificate. And what does the certificate do? What does it qualify you for? You are still unemployable. After 14 years, you are unemployable. That's a great indictment of our education. It happens not only in this country, but all over countries. And so what we do is we go for another certificate in a college. I did many years in college. It was fun, but I was not employable almost even after the end of it. I had to learn from scratch how to teach. When I joined teaching, I knew nothing about teaching. So here we are spending so much time with our children to, in a sense, to be sarcastic, to make them unemployed. What I would like to tell our students is something a little different to learning. Because what are we going to learn? What I learned, I've already illustrated, when I was young, is hardly of any use today. I've had to go on learning, and that's a good thing, to learn. But what we learned was completely obsolete. So, the rapid change that is taking place is something which you can never keep pace with. The rapid changes are so rapid we cannot keep pace with. At the turn of this century, in the year 2000, the phone came into being. And today, all of us, I'm keeping one next to me because it's a lifeline somehow. Now the smartphone has been developed from the first computers. And do you know, the first computers were in a building 6 floors high, using as much power as a small city, and having a memory, a RAM, random access memory, of 100 KB. This device, which we now carry universally, all of us in our pockets, is 1 million times more powerful. That has been the progress in less than 60, 70 years. So, and that's towards the end of my life. Now imagine a boy leaving school today, or a girl leaving school today. What will he be encountering when he is of my age? It will be at the turn of this century. And as things are going, it seems to me that we will be fitter and stronger and be more capable of working at my age than I am. Now, the problem is we don't even, pace of change is so fast that we cannot even predict what will happen 5 years from now. And if we are overtaken by crises like the pandemic, which completely floors us, how do we cope? So for me, education is to be, in the future, more the education of life skills. The other things follow. You know, you just switch on your computer, your TV, and go to YouTube, and you'll get lessons on every aspect of learning. And you'll be able to interact with all that. You don't even have to go to a school. I think it's very important that you do go to school, but you don't have to if you want to learn something. So, the question is, what do we teach our children to face this uncertain future, this rapidly changing world? And for this, you have to arm yourself. Every child has to be armed with the following. And I call them life skills. And these are the skills of 10 C's, as I call them. The first one, and I'll go through this very quickly because otherwise I'll use up too much time. The first one is curiosity. It's a skill that we are born with, but in our system we do our best to dumb it down. I used to be, I've lost my hair trying to teach children to ask questions and be curious because the book didn't say what I wanted them to look at. And everything had to go by the book. So curiosity is a very important skill. It's a skill, although we are born inherently with it. And our classes must be geared towards encouraging curiosity. You know, the skill of a good teacher, I'm not saying that I am, but I got a letter the other day from an old Sanawarian lady who's crossed the half century, saying, "Sir, I hated physics, but I loved your classes." And she loved my classes because I made them fun. I made them curious about asking questions. And that is one of the skills that a teacher must have. And that is to teach, to make children love their subject. Because a child learns best when they learn what they want to learn. And the teacher has to use all the skills like curiosity to make them want to learn that subject. The second very important C that I call is creativity, to be creative. I'll run through these now quickly. To be creative means two things. One is to think out of the box, and the other is push the envelope further. And we give you many examples in every subject of being creative, and it is definitely a game changer if you can get your children to be creative in maths, in physics, in English, in Hindi, whatever. The third very important thing is critical thinking. You have to allow children to not take things for granted, to ask questions of how and why and where. If you Google something, you get 100,000 answers. How do you know which is which? And therefore, critical thinking is very important, to be looking at answers and finding out what it's trying to say. The fourth C that I have, and a very, very important one, is communication. In today's world, one of the ways that people are interacting more and more and more is to communicate like I am communicating on a screen. And so communication becomes an extraordinarily important skill that all students must have. If they want to communicate their ideas, if they want to communicate their criticisms, if they want to be creative, they have to learn to communicate. The fifth C is to make choices. Learn to make choices. Information is everywhere, all kinds of information. I'll give you one little example. When I was a kid, I had 5 or 6 careers to choose from. You could join the army, you could join the civil services, you could be a businessman, and so on. There were about 5 or 6 things. Today, there are 100,000 careers, actually 1,000 major careers, and 100,000 sub-careers to choose from. How does one make a choice? Children have to be guided on these. They have to learn to make choices. Throughout their lives now, they will be confronted in making choices because there's so much information. The sixth C, which is a great one for Sanawarians. Sanawarians have this great quality of courtesy. And I think that is a very, very important skill to have. To be able to smile, to be able to be courteous, to hold the door open for someone, to stand up when someone senior comes. These courteous gestures make for the beginning of a good relationship. And Sanawarians are very good at this. I love it. Whenever I was walking around, they would very genuinely say, "Good morning, sir," or "Good evening," whatever it is. So don't lose that, Sanawarians. And then we come to being candid. To be able to speak the truth, to be candid and say what you want to say. And for this, you also need to be courageous. You need to have courage in you to say, "This is important for me." And then we come to the new paradigms of this century, and that is collaboration and competition. You know, when you play in a team, say a game, you're collaborating. But at the same time, you're competing with each other to play as well as you can, play better than your teammate, before you start competing with others. So these two skills, to collaborate, to learn to collaborate, to not be afraid to collaborate, to talk to other people, and then to do better than them, is an important skill, to collaborate and to compete. And then we come to citizenship. All of us are citizens of a city, of a community, of a country, of a world. And we have responsibilities towards being that, holding that position. Whether it is in the community we live in, whether it is in the city we live in, whether it is in the world we live in, the country we live in. So this is another skill that has to be taught and put into our children as they grow up. And finally, boys and girls, the last C that I have, perhaps one of the most important, is compassion. Compassion. There are dictionary meanings of compassion, but let me give you my meaning. Compassion to me is to love with a passion. To love the trees that surround you with a passion. To love the birds that fly and flit out of them with a passion. To love all creatures with a passion. To love the sky, the blue skies and the birds and the clouds, and the mountains and the plains and the forest, all with a passion. Love the air you breathe with a passion. Love, finally, love the deprived, love the disabled, love those who are not as fortunate as you are. Love your neighbor. Love the world you live in. And so, boys and girls, I commend to you a wonderful future. A future that holds enormous promise, provided you learn to adapt to what is happening and you know the skills that are required to cope with this future. I congratulate you all for the wonderful results you have produced, for the lovely school that you live in, and your headmaster has done so much. I feel proud of him. I feel proud of all the old Sanawarians. There are hundreds of them I hear from and hundreds I don't hear from. But whoever I know is around, I feel proud of them. And I have a great sense of satisfaction. And the reason is, the satisfaction is because I live my dreams through you. Whatever you are doing as an old Sanarian, for the dream I had, not only for yourself, but also for myself. So take yourselves forward, and in that process, take the world forward, take the country forward, take your school forward. Thank you very much.
I would like to thank Mr. S.R. Das for his inspirational and heartfelt words. I would now invite our worthy headmaster, Mr. Himmat Singh Dhillon, to propose a vote of thanks for our chief guest.
Thank you very much, dear Mr. Das, for your kind words. I'm sure everyone who heard you this morning is inspired by your address. I would like to thank dear Mr. Das on behalf of the school and the students for gracing our 173rd Founders Day as the chief guest. Thank you, dear sir, for sparing your time and addressing us all. We are grateful indeed.
Even when the whole world gets restricted and everything seems dull, the never-given spirit keeps us going. We hope this year's founders helped you regather memories, moments, and the privilege of being a part of the best school of all. Though we're far away, yet close enough. As per the tradition, please rise for all three verses of the school song.
Hip hip!